You stand at the edge of a great mystery, wondering when the tides will turn in your favor. It is a natural yearning, this desire to see the fruits of your hopes bloom before your eyes. Yet the greatest acts of creation do not unfold in haste. Look at the seed buried in the dark soil. To the impatient eye, it seems as though nothing happens. But beneath the surface, unseen forces labor tirelessly. Roots take hold, reaching deep for sustenance, before the first tender sprout breaks free to greet the light. Such is the nature of divine timing. Trust is the key that unlocks the door to peace while you wait. This trust is not blind, it is rooted in the knowing that God's plan is perfect. Consider the stars above. They do not rush their journey across the heavens, nor do they falter. Each spark of light moves with purpose, its timing aligned with a higher order. So it is with your life. The things you long for are not denied, they are being prepared for you, even now. Your role is to trust and align your heart with gratitude, for gratitude is the language of faith. Many become restless, seeking to force what must come naturally. But what use is a flower plucked before its bloom? Its beauty is diminished, its purpose incomplete. To wait is not to do nothing, it is an act of faith, an opportunity to deepen your connection with God. In the waiting, your spirit learns patience, your heart discovers strength, and your mind opens to wisdom. The process refines you, preparing you not only to receive the blessing but to sustain it and multiply it. Imagine a traveler who carries a lantern in the night. The light is sufficient for each step, but it does not reveal the entire journey. If the traveler trusts the light and moves forward, the path unfolds, step by step. So too, God gives you just enough light for the moment you are in. The waiting teaches you to trust that the next step will also be illuminated, even if you cannot see it now. Every delay has its purpose. Perhaps what you desire is not yet ready for you, or perhaps you are not yet ready for it. The clay must be molded and fired before it becomes a vessel fit for use. Similarly, your waiting is shaping you, strengthening your character, and sharpening your faith. Trust that God, the master craftsman, sees the bigger picture and knows when the time is right. Do not confuse waiting with inaction. Use this sacred pause to deepen your prayers, to cultivate your inner world, and to align your thoughts with what you seek. The seed grows faster when the soil is nourished. So nurture your faith, water it with hope, and let the light of God's promises shine upon it. In doing so, you hasten the manifestation of your desires, not by force, but by surrender. Let go of worry, for worry is the enemy of trust. Worry creates resistance, a wall that blocks the blessings already on their way. Instead, embrace peace, knowing that what is meant for you cannot miss you. God's timing is impeccable, and His plans for you are for good, not harm. Your job is not to figure out the how or the when, but to remain steadfast in faith, believing that all things are working together for your good. In the stillness of waiting, listen for God's whispers. He speaks in the quiet moments, guiding your heart and strengthening your spirit. Open your mind to His wisdom and your heart to His love. The waiting is not a punishment, it is a gift, a space where miracles are conceived and divine plans are perfected. Trust that the one who holds the stars in place also holds your destiny, and that His timing is always perfect. Waiting on God's timing is not a passive state, but an active alignment with divine order. It is a moment-to-moment surrender to the certainty that there is an intelligence far greater than yours, orchestrating the symphony of your life. Imagine a grand conductor standing before an orchestra. Each instrument must enter at precisely the right moment for the music to be harmonious. If one plays too soon, the melody is disrupted. If one lags behind, the rhythm falters. You are one part of this divine symphony, and God ensures that your moment to play will come at the perfect time. The act of waiting refines your inner being, teaching you lessons that could not be learned in the rush of immediate gratification. It strips away the impatience that binds you to the fleeting and opens your heart to the eternal. Patience is not merely the act of enduring, it is the art of trusting. It is a quiet confidence that the path you walk is leading you to something far greater than you could imagine. This trust allows you to see delays not as denials but as divine appointments. I think of the seasons as they cycle through their phases. Winter may seem barren and cold, but beneath the surface, the earth is preparing for spring. The trees, though stripped of their leaves, conserve energy for a time of abundant growth. The waiting is not empty, it is full of unseen activity, a sacred preparation for the harvest to come. Just as the seasons obey the rhythm set by their Creator, so too must you honor the rhythm of your life. To rush the seasons would be folly, to trust them is wisdom. In this trust, you begin to see signs of God's hand at work, even in the smallest details. A conversation that opens a new perspective, a delay that saves you from harm, or a closed door that redirects you to something better. These are not coincidences, but whispers of divine timing, subtle reminders that you are not forgotten, that the Creator of the universe is intricately involved in your journey. Each moment of waiting is a thread woven into the tapestry of your destiny, forming a masterpiece that only God can envision. The human mind often rebels against waiting because it seeks control. It wants to dictate the pace and outcome of life. Yet this is like trying to command the ocean's waves. The waves will come in their time regardless of your efforts. Similarly, your role is not to control but to cooperate. Trust requires surrender, not of your dreams, but of your need to force their manifestation. It is in this surrender that you find freedom, for you no longer carry the weight of uncertainty, you place it in God's hands. The waiting transforms your relationship with time itself. Instead of seeing it as an adversary, you begin to see it as an ally. Time becomes the medium through which God's promises are fulfilled. Just as a potter needs time to shape the clay, so too does God need time to shape your circumstances and your character. Rushing the process would only result in something incomplete, something unworthy of the greatness you are destined for. Trust that time is working for you, not against you, because it is guided by the hands of the Creator. In this sacred waiting, there is also a call to examine your own heart. Are you truly ready for what you seek? Sometimes the waiting is not because God is withholding, but because He is preparing you to receive. Imagine receiving a blessing that you are not equipped to handle. It would quickly slip through your fingers or even become a burden. The waiting ensures that you are not only ready to receive, but also ready to steward the blessings with wisdom and grace. Faith, in its truest form, is born in the waiting. It is easy to believe when the evidence is visible, but true faith persists even when there is no sign of change. It declares, I believe, not because I see, but because I know. This knowing is not of the mind, but of the Spirit, a deep assurance that transcends circumstances. Faith is the bridge between where you are and where you are meant to be, and the waiting is the journey across that bridge. As you wait, remember that God's timing is not bound by human constraints. To Him, 1,000 years are as a day, and a day is 1,000 years. What seems delayed to you is perfectly on schedule in His eyes. This perspective shifts your focus from frustration to trust, from anxiety to peace. You begin to see time not as a limitation, but as a canvas upon which God paints the masterpiece of your life. Each stroke, each delay, each moment of waiting contributes to the beauty of the final picture. There is a profound humility in waiting, for it requires you to acknowledge that you are not the ultimate authority over your life. It reminds you that there is a power greater than yourself, a power that sees the end from the beginning. This humility is not a weakness but a strength, for it aligns you with the flow of divine will. In surrendering your timeline, you align with God's, and His plans are always for your highest good. The waiting is also a time of deepening your relationship with God. It is in these moments that you learn to lean on Him, to seek His presence, and to hear His voice. The noise of the world often drowns out the whispers of the Spirit, but in the stillness of waiting, His voice becomes clear. He speaks to you not to give you all the answers, but to assure you that He is with you, guiding you step by step. This companionship transforms the waiting from a burden into a blessing. As you continue on this journey, allow gratitude to fill your heart. Gratitude is the language of trust, a declaration that even in the waiting, you recognize the goodness of God. It shifts your focus from what is lacking to what is already abundant in your life. Gratitude opens your eyes to the blessings that surround you, even as you wait for the greater blessings to come. It is a powerful act of faith that declares, I trust that everything is unfolding for my good. The waiting is not an end in itself, but a preparation for a new beginning. It is a sacred interval, a pause before the next movement of your life's symphony. Trust that this pause is purposeful, that it is setting the stage for something far greater than you can imagine. As you wait, remember that God's timing is never late, and His plans are always perfect. Trust, surrender, and rest in the assurance that the one who began a good work in you will bring it to completion in His time. In the silence of waiting, there is a divine opportunity to connect with the eternal truths of life. Often, when people long for immediate answers, they miss the sacredness of the moment they are already in. Waiting, though it seems like an empty space, is a powerful season of transformation. It is in these quiet spaces where faith grows stronger, where patience deepens, and where your inner world is shaped to align with the blessings you seek. To wait is to align yourself with the rhythm of the universe, a rhythm orchestrated by the Creator. Everything in nature operates on divine timing. The tides do not crash all at once, they ebb and flow with precision. The sun does not rush to rise, it ascends at the appointed time, illuminating the world with its light. You are no different. Your life is part of this divine order, and your blessings are being prepared to appear when the time is right. To trust this process is to rest in the assurance that the same power guiding the stars is guiding your steps. Impatience often stems from fear, the fear that nothing will happen, that what you hope for will pass you by. But fear is a lie that seeks to disconnect you from the truth of God's promises. Fear whispers that you are forgotten, that you must strive endlessly to make things happen. Trust, however, is a louder voice. It proclaims that the Creator of the universe, the one who formed you, knows every detail of your heart and every moment of your future. Trust silences fear, replacing it with peace. In the waiting, there is an invitation to surrender control. Human nature craves certainty, desiring to plan and dictate outcomes. Yet control is an illusion. You may plant the seed, but you cannot force it to grow. You may water the soil, but you cannot command the rain. Growth, whether in nature or in your life, requires surrender to forces beyond your control. This surrender is not defeat, but a recognition of your place within God's grand design. It is an acknowledgement that while you do your part, the ultimate results are in His hands. Waiting sharpens your vision. It teaches you to look beyond the immediate, to see the beauty of what is unfolding rather than what is lacking. Too often the mind fixates on the absence of what is desired, ignoring the abundance that already exists. The waiting invites you to shift your perspective, to recognize that every moment is filled with gifts. A delay is not a denial, it is a redirection, a pause that often spares you from what is not meant for you or prepares you for what is greater than you imagined. During this time, you are called to prepare. The waiting is not idle, it is active. It is a season to build yourself from within, to become the person who is ready for what you seek. If you desire a greater purpose, strengthen your faith, expand your wisdom, and nurture your soul. If you seek love, cultivate self-love and gratitude. If you long for success, develop discipline and vision. The waiting is a gift, a time to align your actions and thoughts with the life you envision, to ready yourself for the moment when the doors open. Patience is a virtue not because it is passive, but because it reflects deep strength. To be patient is to be unshaken by the passing of time, to stand firm in the belief that God's promises are not forgotten. It is an act of faith to endure without wavering, to trust without evidence, and to hope without seeing. This patience refines you, removing the impurities of doubt and replacing them with the purity of unwavering belief. It transforms your spirit into a vessel capable of holding the blessings that are on their way. There are moments in the waiting when doubt may creep in, when the silence feels overwhelming and the absence of visible progress feels like abandonment. But remember that God's ways are higher than your ways, and His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. Just as a painter steps back from the canvas to add the final details, so too does God step back to perfect His work in your life. What feels like a delay is often a preparation for something far more intricate and beautiful than you can comprehend. Faith is the bridge that carries you through the waiting. Faith does not demand signs, it thrives in the unseen. It is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith anchors you when the winds of uncertainty blow, reminding you that what you are waiting for is already yours in spirit. It exists in the unseen realm, and your faith brings it closer to manifestation. Faith is not merely belief, it is a knowing, a deep conviction that God's timing is perfect. As you wait, remember that God is not constrained by human limitations. His timing often defies logic, but is always flawless. Consider the story of a man who plants a tree and waits for it to bear fruit. He cannot rush the process, he can only trust that in due season the tree will yield its harvest. So it is with your life. You may not see the fruit today, but it is growing. Each day brings you closer to the fulfillment of God's promises, even if you cannot yet see the progress. The waiting also reveals what truly matters. In the silence, distractions fall away, and the heart's deepest desires come into focus. You begin to understand that the things you seek are not ends in themselves, but reflections of a deeper longing. Perhaps what you truly desire is not the thing, but the feeling it represents, a sense of peace, fulfillment, or connection. The waiting gives you the clarity to discern these deeper truths, to align your desires with the divine will. In these moments, gratitude becomes your greatest ally. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. It opens your eyes to the miracles unfolding around you, even as you wait for greater ones to come. Gratitude declares, I trust that all is well, and in doing so, it accelerates the arrival of your blessings. A grateful heart is a magnet for abundance, attracting more of what you appreciate. Let gratitude be the anthem of your waiting, a psalm of faith that echoes through time. As the days pass, resist the urge to compare your journey to others. Comparison breeds discontent, pulling you away from the unique path God has designed for you. What is meant for you cannot be taken by another, and what is meant for another cannot fulfill you. Trust that your blessings are tailor-made, arriving in the perfect season for your growth and joy. Comparison blinds you to the beauty of your journey. Trust opens your eyes to the perfection of God's timing. The waiting also strengthens your connection to God. It draws you into deeper prayer, not as a plea for quick results, but as a conversation with the one who knows you completely. In this communion, you find peace. You come to understand that God's timing is not about making you wait, but about preparing you for the fullness of what He has planned. The waiting becomes less about receiving and more about becoming the person who is ready to embrace all that is to come. Every day of waiting is a testament to your faith. It is a declaration that you trust in a plan greater than your own, that you believe in the promises of a faithful God. Let each moment of waiting be a seed of hope planted in the soil of trust, watered by patience and nourished by gratitude. In time, these seeds will grow into a harvest beyond your imagining, a testament to the beauty of God's timing and the power of your trust. The beauty of waiting is often hidden in the discomfort it brings. People tend to see waiting as a pause, a disruption in the forward motion of their lives, but in truth, it is a space for divine realignment. This period, though challenging, is not wasted. It is in these quiet stretches that God works in the unseen, aligning circumstances, shaping opportunities, and preparing hearts. The unseen is where the most profound transformation occurs, and waiting invites you to trust in the reality of that unseen work. You must understand that waiting is not about inactivity. It is not a call to stand still in despair, but to move forward in faith. Even as you wait for God's timing, there is work to be done, not just external work, but the inner work of building your character, refining your spirit, and expanding your capacity for the blessings that are to come. Waiting requires action, but this action is guided by trust rather than fear, by purpose rather than panic. It is a process of becoming, a journey of growth. Consider the seasons of the earth. Winter may seem barren and lifeless, yet beneath the surface, the soil is being prepared for spring. Seeds rest in the earth, gathering the energy they need to burst forth in due time. The same principle applies to your life. What may appear as a stagnant season is actually one of preparation and renewal. God is preparing the soil of your life, ensuring that when your season of abundance comes, you are ready to embrace it fully. Patience is the companion of faith. To wait with patience is to release the need for immediate gratification and instead rest in the assurance of God's perfect plan. Impatience, on the other hand, leads to frustration and anxiety, pulling you away from the peace that faith provides. Patience allows you to find joy in the present moment, to appreciate the journey even as you anticipate the destination. It transforms waiting from a burden into a sacred opportunity to deepen your trust in God. Trusting in God's timing requires a shift in perspective. The human mind often views delays as setbacks, but in God's design they are stepping stones. What you perceive as a delay may be the very thing that protects you from harm or prepares you for a greater blessing. When you align your perspective with God's, you begin to see the beauty in the waiting. You recognize that every moment is part of a divine plan, each delay a carefully placed piece of the puzzle that will eventually reveal a masterpiece. Faith is not passive, it is an active force. It calls you to believe in what you cannot see, to hold on to hope even when the evidence around you suggests otherwise. Faith requires courage, for it asks you to trust in the unseen and to walk forward without knowing what lies ahead. It is a daily decision to place your trust in God's promises rather than your own understanding. Faith transforms waiting into an act of worship, a declaration of your belief in God's faithfulness. Waiting often feels like being in a wilderness, a place where familiar comforts are stripped away and the path forward is unclear. Yet the wilderness is not a place of abandonment, it is a place of transformation. In the wilderness, you are stripped of distractions and your dependence on God is deepened. It is here that you learn to listen for His voice, to rely on His guidance, and to trust in His provision. The wilderness is not the end of the journey, it is a necessary step on the path to the promised land. Gratitude is a powerful practice during times of waiting. It shifts your focus from what is missing to what is present, from what is uncertain to what is certain. Gratitude opens your heart to the blessings already around you, reminding you that even in the waiting, God's goodness abounds. When you cultivate a spirit of gratitude, you align yourself with the abundance of the universe, creating a fertile ground for the fulfillment of your desires. Gratitude transforms waiting from a time of longing to a time of joy. The waiting period is an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with God. It is a time to deepen your prayer life, not by asking for quick answers, but by seeking His presence. Prayer becomes less about asking and more about communion, a sacred dialogue where you pour out your heart and listen for His guidance. In these moments, you come to understand that the waiting is not about what you are waiting for, but about who you are becoming in the process. Waiting teaches you to release control. It is a lesson in surrender, an invitation to let go of the need to manipulate outcomes and instead trust in God's sovereignty. Control is an illusion, a false sense of security that often leads to frustration and exhaustion. When you release control, you free yourself from the burden of trying to make things happen and instead rest in the knowledge that God is in control. This surrender is not a sign of weakness, but of profound strength and faith. Every moment of waiting is an opportunity to grow in humility. It reminds you that you are not the master of your destiny, but a participant in God's grand design. Humility allows you to acknowledge your dependence on Him, to recognize that His wisdom far exceeds your own. It is in this posture of humility that you find peace, knowing that you do not have to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. God's timing is perfect, and He is faithful to fulfill His promises. The waiting period often reveals your true priorities. It strips away superficial desires and brings clarity to what truly matters. In the silence of waiting, you come face to face with your deepest longings and motivations. This clarity allows you to align your desires with God's will, to seek not just what you want, but what He wants for you. When your desires align with His, you position yourself to receive blessings that exceed your imagination. Waiting also cultivates resilience. It strengthens your ability to endure, to remain steadfast in the face of uncertainty. Resilience is not about avoiding challenges, but about rising above them. It is about standing firm in your faith, even when the path ahead is unclear. This resilience is a gift, a strength that will carry you through not only the waiting period, but also the challenges that may come with the blessings you seek. In the waiting, you learn to listen. The noise of life often drowns out the still, small voice of God. But in the silence, you can hear Him more clearly. Waiting invites you to tune in, to pay attention to the whispers of His guidance. These moments of listening deepen your relationship with Him, allowing you to discern His will and follow His leading. The waiting becomes a sacred space where you and God meet, where His voice becomes the anchor for your soul. As you wait, remember that God is never late. His timing is not dictated by human expectations or schedules. He is the creator of time, and He operates outside of its constraints. What may seem like a delay to you is perfectly timed in His plan. Trust that He knows the beginning from the end, that He sees the full picture when you can only see a fragment. His timing is always for your good, even when it is difficult to understand. The waiting period is a testament to your faith. It is a declaration that you trust in God's promises, even when the evidence is not yet visible. This trust is a powerful force, a statement of your belief in His faithfulness and love. Let each moment of waiting be an offering of faith, a demonstration of your unwavering belief that God's timing is perfect and His plans for you are good. Your journey is unique, crafted by the hands of a loving Creator. Trust that the path you are on is leading you exactly where you need to be. Embrace the waiting as part of that journey, a season of growth, preparation, and deepening faith. Remember that the same God who placed the stars in the sky, who commands the tides and brings forth the seasons, is guiding your life. His timing is perfect, and His love for you is infinite. Waiting teaches you the art of patience in a world that demands immediate results. It pulls you out of the rush and reminds you to be still, not just physically but spiritually. The stillness is not empty, it is filled with God's presence. It is a sacred pause where you can recalibrate your heart and mind, aligning them with His will. This stillness becomes a source of peace that transcends understanding, allowing you to rest even in the midst of uncertainty. It is in this rest that you find the strength to persevere. The act of waiting sharpens your focus. It helps you distinguish between fleeting desires and enduring purposes. When you are forced to wait, you begin to evaluate your intentions and refine your goals. This process is not punitive, it is purifying. It is God's way of ensuring that what you seek is not only good for you, but also aligned with His greater plan. Waiting acts as a filter, sifting through superficial wants and uncovering the deep desires planted in your heart by Him. Faith during the waiting period is not blind optimism, it is a deep-seated trust in the character of God. You trust not just in what He will do, but in who He is. He is faithful, loving, and sovereign. This trust is built over time, nurtured by His past faithfulness. Reflect on the moments when God has come through for you, even when it seemed impossible. Let those memories fuel your faith in the present, reminding you that the same God who was faithful then is faithful now. In the waiting, you are not alone. God's presence is with you, offering comfort and guidance. He walks with you through the uncertainty, holding your hand and whispering His promises into your heart. His word becomes a lamp to your feet, lighting the path even when the destination is unclear. Lean into His presence during these times. Let His love be your anchor and His peace your refuge. The waiting becomes less about what you lack and more about who is with you in the process. Waiting is an invitation to cultivate hope. Hope is not passive, it is active and vibrant. It looks beyond the present circumstances and holds on to the promise of what is to come. Hope fuels your spirit, keeping you moving forward, even when the road seems long. It is a declaration that you believe in a future shaped by God's goodness. This hope is not fragile, it is a powerful force that sustains you, reminding you that the best is yet to come. During the waiting period, you may feel the temptation to compare your journey to others. It is easy to look at someone else's life and wonder why their blessings seem to arrive sooner. But comparison is a thief of joy and a distraction from your unique path. Trust that God's timing for you is as individual as your fingerprint. What He has planned for you is not diminished by what He is doing for others. Release the urge to compare and rest in the assurance that your blessings are coming in their appointed time. God's timing is a mystery, and it requires surrender. Surrender does not mean giving up, it means giving over. You release your timeline, your plans, and your expectations into His capable hands. This surrender is an act of worship, a declaration that you trust His wisdom above your own. It is not a passive act, but a powerful statement of faith. As you surrender, you free yourself from the burden of control and open your heart to the fullness of what God has prepared for you. Waiting often brings moments of doubt. You may question if God hears your prayers or if He is even aware of your struggles. In these moments, it is important to cling to His promises. His word is filled with reminders of His faithfulness and love. When doubt creeps in, speak His promises over your life. Let them be the truth that anchors you when emotions waver. His promises are not just words, they are living and active, a testament to His unwavering commitment to you. The waiting period is an opportunity to build endurance. Life is not a sprint, it is a marathon. The strength you build during the waiting equips you for the journey ahead. Each moment of perseverance is like a weight lifted in the gym of life, strengthening your faith and resilience. This endurance is not just for the waiting period, it prepares you to handle the blessings and responsibilities that come with God's perfect timing. Endurance is the muscle that sustains your faith when challenges arise. In the stillness of waiting, you may hear God's gentle invitation to dream again. Waiting is not the death of dreams, but their incubation. It is a time for God to expand your vision, to plant new seeds of purpose in your heart. As you wait, allow yourself to dream boldly, trusting that God's plans for you are greater than you can imagine. His dreams for you are not limited by your circumstances, they are shaped by His limitless power and love. Waiting also strengthens your character. It refines you, removing impurities and shaping you into the person God created you to be. This refinement is not always comfortable, but it is necessary. Like gold tested in the fire, your faith and character are purified in the waiting. Each challenge you face, each moment of patience required, molds you into someone who reflects God's image more fully. The waiting period becomes a workshop where God crafts you into a vessel ready to carry His blessings. The waiting period is an act of trust in God's provision. It is easy to worry about whether your needs will be met, but waiting teaches you to rely on His faithfulness. He is the God who provides manna in the wilderness and water from the rock. He sees your needs and meets them in His perfect way. Trusting in His provision means releasing the anxiety that comes with trying to meet your needs on your own. It is a declaration that you believe He is your source. In the waiting, you may discover the power of community. God often places people in your life to walk with you through the journey. They may offer encouragement, wisdom, or simply a listening ear. Do not isolate yourself in the waiting period. Seek out those who will remind you of God's faithfulness and encourage you to keep going. Community becomes a source of strength, a reminder that you are not alone in your journey. Together you can lift each other up and move forward in faith. Waiting allows you to see God's fingerprints on your life. As you look back on seasons of waiting, you begin to recognize how His timing was perfect. The job you didn't get, the relationship that didn't work out, the delay you thought was a denial, all of it begins to make sense in hindsight. These moments become testimonies of His faithfulness, stories you can share to encourage others. They remind you that God's timing is always worth the wait. Waiting is not a punishment, it is a gift. It is an opportunity to grow, to deepen your faith, and to prepare for what is to come. It is a sacred space where you and God meet, where His love surrounds you and His peace sustains you. Embrace the waiting, not as a pause in your journey, but as an essential part of it. Trust that His timing is perfect and His plans for you are good. In the waiting you will find Him, and in finding Him you will find all that you need. As you journey through seasons of waiting, remember that every moment is a part of God's divine plan. Waiting is not a void but a sacred space where faith is refined, trust is deepened, and purpose is revealed. It is here that God prepares you for the blessings He has already set in motion. Trust his timing, for he sees what you cannot and works in ways beyond human understanding. Let patience anchor you, hope sustain you, and surrender free you from worry. The waiting is not about delay, but about divine alignment, ensuring that what you receive is not only good but perfect. Lean into his promises and find peace in his presence, knowing that his timing is never late and his plans for you are filled with love and purpose. In trusting him, you will see that everything comes to pass in its appointed season. When you stand in the mirror, look deeply into your eyes and realize something profound: you are the best. There is no one better than you. It may sound bold, but it is the truth of your being. Your mind, your spirit, your heart, these are the divine gifts given to you, and they are more powerful than you realize. Every thought, every feeling, every belief you hold shapes your reality. It molds your world into what you believe it to be. So if you carry the conviction that you are the best, your life will unfold as if it is true. What does it mean to act as if you are the best? It means to align yourself with the highest version of yourself, to walk with confidence, to speak with authority, and to live with the conviction that you are not just good, but the very best. You are the one who stands apart, not because you are separate, but because you are so connected to the infinite potential within you. The world is yours to command, for you are a reflection of divine perfection. The key to manifesting greatness is in your thoughts. The belief you hold about yourself radiates outward and creates the conditions of your life. When you think of yourself as the best, you place yourself in the flow of your true nature, limitless, unstoppable, and capable of achieving anything. You don't need external validation because you are already in harmony with the truth of your existence. That truth is that you are a unique expression of the divine. The world around you mirrors your inner state. If you see yourself as less than, you attract less. If you see yourself as lacking, you draw experiences that reinforce that lack. But when you change the image of yourself, when you act as if you are the best, the world must reflect that back to you. The universe responds to the image you hold of yourself. The world around you is a reflection of the energy you emit. And when you act from the knowing that you are the best, everything around you falls into place as if it had no choice but to align with this new belief. The challenge is not to wait for external circumstances to change before you believe in your greatness. The challenge is to believe in your greatness first, and then the world will catch up. You must take bold actions. Live in the mindset of someone who has already achieved their dreams. Speak as if you already have the success you desire. Move through your day with the certainty that you are the best in what you do, and that no one can compete with the unique gift you bring to the world. When you live this way, you begin to attract opportunities, people, and circumstances that are in harmony with your highest self. Remember, you are not trying to become the best. You are remembering that you are the best. It is not a future goal to be reached, but a present reality to be accepted. Your power is in your awareness of who you truly are. The moment you accept this truth, you align with the greatness that is already yours, the greatness that is your birthright. This is not arrogance, this is self-awareness. Arrogance stems from insecurity, from the need to prove something to others. Acting as if you are the best comes from a place of inner knowing, a place of quiet confidence that does not require the approval of others. You do not need to compare yourself to anyone, because you know your worth. You are a complete and whole expression of life itself, and there is nothing outside of you that can diminish this truth. So begin today. Act as if you are the best. Hold your head high, walk with purpose, and move through life with the unwavering belief that no one is better than you. Not because you are better than anyone, but because you are a unique expression of the divine, and in this you are whole, complete, and perfect. This is your power. This is your truth. The world will respond to the image you hold of yourself. And when you embody the best version of who you are, everything you desire will unfold before you. When you act as if you are the best, you begin to carry yourself in a way that commands respect, not out of arrogance, but out of deep recognition of your inherent worth. You stop questioning your value and start living in alignment with the truth that you are more than capable. This transformation begins in your mind, for your thoughts shape your life in ways that are both subtle and profound. The world around you responds to the mental images you hold. If you hold a vision of yourself as the best, that vision becomes your reality. But this doesn't happen by simply wishing for it. It's not about fantasizing about being the best, it's about stepping into the energy of it. The moment you decide that you are the best, you take ownership of your power. You are no longer waiting for the world to validate you. Instead, you are moving through life with the confidence that you already possess everything you need to succeed. The shift begins internally and works its way outward, manifesting itself in every action you take, in every conversation you engage in, and in every decision you make. When you embody the belief that you are the best, you begin to make choices that reflect your highest vision for yourself. You take risks that you would have previously avoided, not out of ignorance, but because you know that failure is not a reflection of your worth, but an opportunity to grow. In each challenge, you see an opportunity to prove to yourself that you are capable of overcoming anything. The belief that you are the best empowers you to confront difficulties with resilience, knowing that no circumstance has the power to diminish your value. At the core of acting as if you are the best is the deep understanding that your worth is not determined by external validation. The need for approval from others dissolves when you realize that your worth comes from within. You do not need to prove anything to anyone. The way you perceive yourself becomes the most important factor in shaping your life. When you see yourself as the best, you project an energy of power and certainty that others cannot help but recognize. They begin to respond to you in ways that reflect the confidence you exude. You begin to attract people who see you for the greatness you already possess, and these people will support and encourage you in your journey. To act as if you are the best, you must learn to trust in yourself completely. This is the hardest part for many because society often conditions us to doubt our abilities, to second-guess our worth, and to compare ourselves to others. But the truth is, there is no one who can compare to you. There may be others who excel in different ways, but your unique combination of gifts, talents, and experiences makes you irreplaceable. You are the only one who can do what you do in the way that you do it, and that is what makes you the best. This self-trust doesn't come overnight. It takes practice. It requires you to silence the inner critic that tells you you're not enough or that someone else is better. Every time that voice rises up, you must replace it with the truth that you are more than enough. You are more than capable. You are already the best at what you do simply by showing up and being yourself. The act of affirming your worth daily through thoughts, words, and actions begins to reinforce this belief. With each passing day, you begin to embody this truth more fully, and soon it becomes the foundation of everything you do. In the beginning, acting as if you are the best may feel unnatural. You may question whether it is okay to carry yourself with such confidence, especially if you've spent years doubting your abilities or playing small. But this is where your power lies. You must step into the fullness of who you are, not because you are better than anyone else, but because you are the best version of yourself. And that version of yourself has always been inside you, waiting for you to acknowledge it. As you begin to act with the belief that you are the best, you begin to shed the limitations that have held you back. You no longer seek external approval because you've realized that it is your own validation that matters most. You stop seeking permission to succeed, knowing that you are worthy of success simply because you exist. Your mind begins to operate from a place of abundance, not scarcity. You no longer see the world as a place where there is not enough to go around. Instead, you see endless opportunities, and you know that your greatness can never be diminished by the success of others. When you truly believe that you are the best, you also begin to see the greatness in others. You no longer feel threatened by their success because you understand that there is no competition. There is no one else who can do what you do the way you do it. You begin to celebrate the success of others, not out of obligation, but because you know that their success does not take away from your own. The more you align with the belief that you are the best, the more you see the beauty and potential in everyone around you. This shift in perspective opens up new opportunities for collaboration, support, and mutual growth. As you continue to act as if you are the best, your environment begins to change. The people you attract into your life will reflect the confidence and power you hold within. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will present themselves to you. Your career, relationships, and personal growth will begin to flourish. Not because you are trying to force things to happen, but because you have stepped into the natural flow of your highest potential. Acting as if you are the best is not about forcing anything. It's about aligning with the natural rhythm of your life, the rhythm of abundance, success, and fulfillment. You will find that when you step into your greatness, the world begins to make way for you. Doors that once seemed closed will open, and people who were once indifferent to your efforts will begin to take notice. This is not because you've changed externally, but because you've changed internally. You've redefined who you are and what you are capable of, and the universe has no choice but to respond to that shift. The power to create the life you desire has always been within you. All that was needed was for you to recognize it. To act as if you are the best requires a deep belief in your worth, in your unique abilities, and in your potential. It's not about competing with others. It's about being so deeply connected to your own power that you no longer need to compare yourself to anyone. The moment you stop comparing yourself to others is the moment you unlock your true potential. Comparison keeps you trapped in a cycle of self-doubt. But when you release it, you create space for your own unique brilliance to shine. The more you embody the belief that you are the best, the more you will see evidence of it in your life. This is the law of attraction at work. What you believe and feel about yourself is what you attract. So if you believe that you are the best, you will naturally attract opportunities, people, and experiences that are in alignment with that belief. You will find that the world begins to respond to you as if you are the best, because you are the best, because you are acting as if you are the best. Living with the conviction that you are the best requires courage. It requires you to let go of the fear of judgment, the fear of failure, and the fear of not being good enough. These fears are the product of limiting beliefs that have been ingrained in your subconscious mind. But once you recognize that these fears are not your truth, you can let them go. You can step forward into your greatness with confidence and certainty, knowing that you are worthy of all the success and fulfillment life has to offer. It's not always easy to maintain this mindset, especially in the face of setbacks or challenges. But even in moments of difficulty, remember that you are the best. Challenges are not signs of failure, they are opportunities to prove your strength, resilience, and determination. The best do not give up in the face of adversity, they rise above it. They use every obstacle as a stepping stone to greater success. The more you embody this mindset, the more unstoppable you become. There is nothing that can stand in your way because you are operating from a place of limitless potential. Acting as if you are the best is not about being perfect. It's about embracing your imperfections and knowing that they do not define your worth. You are not defined by your mistakes or your shortcomings. You are defined by your capacity to rise above them, to learn from them, and to continue moving forward with confidence and grace. The best are not flawless, but they are unwavering in their belief in themselves. They understand that every step, every misstep, is part of their journey toward greatness. When you act as if you are the best, you stop waiting for permission. You stop waiting for the right time, the right opportunity, or the right circumstances. You create those opportunities yourself. You take charge of your life and make the decisions that align with your highest vision. You know that you are worthy of success, and you act with the conviction that it is already yours. The power of acting as if you are the best lies in your ability to shift your mindset. It's not about pretending to be someone you're not. It's about recognizing the greatness that already exists within you. It's about tapping into the power that has always been there, waiting for you to awaken to it. The moment you recognize that you are the best is the moment your life begins to transform. Your reality shifts to match the belief you hold about yourself, and everything you desire begins to manifest. When you act as if you are the best, you become a magnet for success. You attract the people, the opportunities, and the experiences that will support you in your journey. The world begins to open up to you in ways that were once unimaginable. This is the power of belief. When you believe that you are the best, you create the space for everything that you desire to come to you effortlessly. You no longer chase success because success comes to you. You will find that the more you act as if you are the best, the more you begin to realize that you already have everything you need to succeed. The universe has already provided you with everything you need. All that is left is for you to step into your greatness and claim it. You are the best, and you always have been. The moment you realize this truth is the moment everything changes. Your life will never be the same once you start living as if you are the best. You will begin to experience a new level of confidence, joy, and fulfillment. You will no longer let fear, doubt, or uncertainty hold you back. Instead, you will move forward with conviction, knowing that you are the best and that everything you desire is already on its way to you. The best is yet to come, and you are ready to receive it. The more you step into your greatness, the more you realize that acting as if you are the best isn't just a surface-level behavior, but a deep-seated understanding of who you truly are. This isn't about presenting a facade of superiority or striving to outshine others. It's about tapping into a profound sense of self-worth and recognizing that you have an unlimited potential that can be realized at any moment. The world is not full of limits, it's full of possibilities, and you hold the key to unlocking them within yourself. As you continue to live this truth, you begin to see your own evolution. You may notice that your actions become more intentional, your words more powerful, and your confidence more magnetic. The best version of you begins to emerge, not because you are acting or pretending, but because you are shedding the layers of self-doubt and fear that have previously confined you. You are not simply acting like the best, you are discovering and embracing the best version of yourself, the one that was always inside waiting to be revealed. This transformation doesn't happen overnight, but with consistent effort, it does occur. Each time you silence the voice of doubt and embrace the truth of your worth, you build momentum. It's like planting a seed that slowly grows into a mighty tree. The tree doesn't rush its growth, it patiently absorbs the nutrients it needs from the soil and the sunlight. Similarly, as you act as if you are the best, you begin to soak up the energy of success, confidence, and purpose. It takes time, but with every moment of alignment with your true self, you become stronger. One of the most powerful things about acting as if you are the best is that it shifts the way you relate to challenges. No longer do obstacles appear as insurmountable mountains or barriers to your progress. Instead, they become stepping stones. Every challenge you encounter is an opportunity to prove to yourself that you have the strength to overcome it. The best don't see setbacks as failures, they view them as lessons and stepping stones toward their next level of greatness. The true test of character lies in how you handle adversity. And when you act as if you are the best, you handle challenges with grace, determination, and clarity. You also begin to recognize that the way others perceive you is a reflection of how you perceive yourself. When you project the belief that you are the best, the world reflects that back to you. People around you begin to see you as a leader, a source of inspiration, and a person to be reckoned with. This is not about vanity or self-centeredness. It's about owning your worth so fully that it impacts every person you encounter. You no longer need to chase recognition or seek validation from others. Instead, you attract it naturally because the energy you put out is one of certainty, strength, and self-assurance. But this process doesn't mean you are immune to self-doubt. It's normal to question yourself at times, especially when you face new challenges or unfamiliar situations. However, the difference between someone who truly believes they are the best and someone who is just pretending is the way they respond to those moments of doubt. When doubt creeps in, you don't spiral into it. You don't let it dictate your actions. Instead, you acknowledge the thought, but you don't allow it to control you. You remember that you are the best, and you move forward in faith. This shift in perspective, over time, strengthens your belief in yourself. Another key to embodying the mindset of being the best is not allowing other people's opinions to dictate your path. The world will always have opinions, and not all of them will be supportive or affirming. People will criticize, judge, and doubt your abilities. But the more you act as if you are the best, the less power these external opinions will have over you. You no longer need anyone's approval because you have already given it to yourself. You have already validated your worth, and no one else's judgment can take that away. You also begin to shed the need for perfection. Acting as if you are the best doesn't mean you're perfect or infallible. In fact, the best are often the ones who make the most mistakes, but they don't let those mistakes define them. They learn from them, adapt, and continue to move forward. When you act as if you are the best, you give yourself the permission to fail, to learn, and to grow. You understand that failure is not an endpoint, but a stepping stone. The best don't fear failure, they embrace it as an opportunity to grow and refine their approach. As you continue on this path, you may notice a subtle yet profound shift in your relationships. When you recognize your own greatness, you begin to attract people who also recognize it. You no longer tolerate relationships that drain you or bring you down. Instead, you start to form connections with people who uplift you, challenge you, and inspire you to reach even higher. You begin to surround yourself with individuals who see your worth and support you in your journey. This is not about surrounding yourself with yes men or people who flatter you, but with those who understand your vision and want to help you succeed. The best people are not those who tell you what you want to hear, but those who push you to be the best version of yourself. Acting as if you are the best also opens the doors to opportunities. When you carry yourself with confidence and certainty, opportunities naturally present themselves. You don't have to chase them, they come to you. Whether it's in your career, your personal life, or your creative endeavors, you begin to see doors open where you once saw walls. The universe responds to the energy you put out. When you exude confidence and belief in your own greatness, the world reflects that back to you in the form of people, opportunities, and experiences that align with your vision. This also means that you must learn to trust yourself. Trust is at the core of acting as if you are the best. When you trust yourself, you trust your decisions, your abilities, and your intuition. You stop second-guessing yourself or waiting for the approval of others before you take action. You know that you have what it takes to succeed. Trusting yourself means that you also trust the process of life. You know that everything is unfolding as it should, and that the path you are on is the right one for you. Even if things don't go according to plan, you trust that there is a greater purpose at work, and that it will all come together in the end. This trust also allows you to be resilient in the face of setbacks. Resilience is one of the key traits of those who act as if they are the best. When challenges arise, you don't crumble or give up. Instead, you rise to the occasion. You embrace the challenge and see it as an opportunity to further prove your strength and capabilities. Every setback becomes a lesson that strengthens your resolve, deepens your understanding, and brings you closer to your goal. You don't allow temporary setbacks to define you or derail your journey. You remain focused on the vision of your success, knowing that nothing can stop you from achieving it. As you continue to act as if you are the best, you begin to develop a deep sense of gratitude for your life and your journey. Gratitude shifts your focus from what you lack to what you already have. When you are grateful for your talents, your opportunities, and your experiences, you begin to attract more things to be grateful for. Gratitude elevates your vibration and aligns you with the energy of abundance. You stop focusing on the challenges or what's not working, and instead you focus on all the things that are going right in your life. This shift in perspective opens the door to even greater success and fulfillment. Another crucial aspect of acting as if you are the best is learning to be kind to yourself. The best are not harsh with themselves. They are not critical or judgmental. Instead, they are their own greatest supporters. They understand that self-compassion is a vital part of their journey. You will make mistakes. You will face challenges. But when you act as if you are the best, you offer yourself the same compassion and encouragement you would offer a friend. You forgive yourself, learn from the experience, and move forward with love and patience. This kindness extends to others as well. When you treat yourself with kindness and respect, you naturally extend that same respect to others. You understand that everyone is on their own journey and you are not in competition with anyone. You support others in their growth and celebrate their successes, knowing that their success does not diminish your own. When you act as if you are the best, you also create an environment where others feel empowered to be their best. As you continue to embody this belief, you begin to see that acting as if you are the best is not about ego, but about alignment with your true self. It's about recognizing the power and greatness within you and living in harmony with that power. It's about honoring the unique gifts you've been given and using them to create a life that aligns with your highest potential. The best are those who are not afraid to shine, not afraid to stand out, and not afraid to claim their place in the world. They are the ones who step forward with confidence and certainty, knowing that they are deserving of all the good that comes their way. When you act as if you are the best, you stop apologizing for your greatness. You stop downplaying your achievements or hiding your talents out of fear of how others will perceive you. Instead, you stand tall in your power, knowing that you are worthy of every success, every opportunity, and every blessing that comes your way. You walk through life with your head held high, radiating the confidence that comes from knowing that you are the best at what you do. And as you do this, the world will respond. People will begin to see you as the best, and you will start to attract the opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are in alignment with your vision. You will no longer feel the need to compete or compare yourself to others. You will recognize that you are unique, and your success is not contingent on anyone else's failure. You will walk your own path, knowing that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you are meant to do. So step into your greatness. Act as if you are the best, for you already are. The world is waiting for you to claim your place. The journey towards acting as if you are the best is not one of arrogance or self-centeredness. It is the recognition of your inherent worth and the understanding that you have something unique to offer the world. Many people spend their entire lives questioning their worth, waiting for someone else to tell them they are good enough. But when you step into the mindset of being the best, you no longer seek approval from others. Your self-worth is not tied to the opinions of those around you. It is anchored deeply within you. You understand that the best version of yourself already exists, and all that is required is for you to acknowledge and embody it. As you act as if you are the best, you will notice how the people around you begin to respond differently to you. When you carry yourself with the confidence and poise of someone who knows their worth, others naturally begin to treat you with the same respect. They see your value, and this recognition opens doors for you that would otherwise remain closed. Relationships become more meaningful because you no longer tolerate negativity or people who undermine your sense of self. Instead, you attract individuals who uplift and encourage you to pursue your dreams with vigor and determination. The transformation that occurs when you act as if you are the best is not limited to how others perceive you. The most significant shift is within yourself. You begin to see life through a different lens. You no longer view challenges as obstacles. Instead, you recognize them as opportunities for growth and self-discovery. The best do not shy away from difficulty, they embrace it, knowing that each experience, whether positive or negative, serves to refine their skills, expand their knowledge, and bring them closer to their true potential. This shift in perception allows you to be more present in your life. When you believe that you are the best, you are no longer distracted by doubts or fears. You are focused on the present moment, fully engaged in whatever task is at hand. Whether you are working, creating, or simply living your life, you approach each moment with a sense of purpose and intention. You are no longer waiting for the right circumstances or the perfect opportunity to act. Instead, you realize that now is the perfect time to take action, because you are already the best. There is no need to wait for external validation, for you have already validated yourself. As you continue to act as if you are the best, you will start to notice how your actions begin to align with your inner belief. The more you act in a way that reflects your greatness, the more the world around you starts to shift to match this new energy. People begin to notice your presence, not because you are trying to stand out, but because you exude a quiet confidence that naturally draws attention. This is not about seeking the spotlight or craving recognition. It is about being authentic and true to yourself. The best do not need to announce their greatness, they live it in everything they do. One of the most powerful aspects of this journey is the realization that you don't have to prove anything to anyone. The world may try to convince you that you need to compete, that you need to be better than others in order to succeed. But when you act as if you are the best, you stop comparing yourself to others. You recognize that there is no competition because your greatness is unique to you. Your path is yours alone, and the success you seek is already within your grasp. There is no need to fight for it. It is simply a matter of aligning with your true self and allowing the universe to bring it to you. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself from the trap of constant judgment. No longer do you measure your worth by the achievements of those around you. You understand that everyone is on their own journey, and their success does not diminish your own. Instead of viewing others as rivals, you see them as fellow travelers on the path of life. You can celebrate their victories without feeling threatened because you know that there is enough success to go around. You are not in competition with anyone else, you are simply focused on becoming the best version of yourself. This is where true fulfillment lies, not in the validation of others, but in the deep sense of satisfaction that comes from knowing you are living authentically. When you act as if you are the best, you are not pretending to be something you are not, you are simply aligning with the truth of who you are. The best version of yourself is not a mask you put on, it is the essence of who you have always been. It is not about becoming someone else, it is about shedding the layers of doubt, fear, and insecurity that have been holding you back from stepping fully into your power. As you continue to live in this way, you will find that the things you once desired begin to come to you effortlessly. The more you believe that you are the best, the more you become a magnet for opportunities, success, and abundance. You no longer have to chase after these things because they are already on their way to you. The universe responds to your energy, and when you radiate confidence, self-worth, and belief in your own greatness, the world cannot help but mirror that back to you. The key to acting as if you are the best is consistency. It is not enough to simply have fleeting moments of confidence, you must embody this belief every day. This doesn't mean you have to be perfect, or that you will never experience moments of doubt. It means that regardless of what happens, you continue to choose to act as if you are the best. You make a conscious decision every day to walk in your truth, to speak your truth, and to live in alignment with your highest potential. The more you do this, the more your reality shifts to match your inner belief. You will find that your capacity for success expands as you continue to act as if you are the best. With each step you take, you build confidence in your abilities, and this confidence becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You begin to take risks that you once would have shied away from, and these risks pay off in ways you never imagined. The more you embrace your greatness, the more you realize that there is no limit to what you can achieve. Your potential is limitless, and the only thing holding you back is your own belief in what is possible. You will also notice that the more you embody this belief, the more you inspire others to do the same. When you act as if you are the best, you become a beacon of inspiration to those around you. People are drawn to your energy, and they begin to believe in their own potential. Your belief in yourself serves as a reminder to others that they too are capable of greatness. This creates a ripple effect as others begin to act as if they are the best, and together you create a community of empowered individuals who support and uplift each other. It is important to remember that this journey is not about perfection. There will be moments when you falter, when you question yourself, or when you encounter obstacles that seem insurmountable. But in these moments you remember that acting as if you are the best is not about being flawless. It is about resilience, about continuing to rise each time you fall, about learning from every experience and using it to fuel your growth. The best are not immune to challenges, they simply respond to them with strength, grace, and determination. As you continue to walk this path, you will see that the journey itself becomes just as important as the destination. The process of becoming the best version of yourself is filled with growth, discovery, and transformation. You will look back at where you started and marvel at how far you've come. You will realize that the greatest reward is not the external success you have achieved, but the person you have become in the process. The more you live in alignment with your belief that you are the best, the more you will see your life reflect this truth. Success, love, joy, and fulfillment will flow to you naturally because you are aligned with the energy of abundance. You no longer have to struggle or strive to attain your dreams. Instead, you begin to attract everything you desire with ease and grace. You have become a magnet for the life you have always dreamed of, and it is all because you chose to act as if you are the best. In every moment, you have the opportunity to embody the best version of yourself. It's not something that happens by chance, it's something that you create with every thought, every word, and every action. When you act as if you are the best, you are aligning with the highest version of yourself, and from that place, everything becomes possible. There is nothing you cannot achieve, no dream too big, and no goal too far out of reach. You are the best, and the world is ready to witness the greatness that you are here to share. When you start acting as if you are the best, you begin to step into your true potential. This is not a matter of pretending to be someone you're not, but rather of acknowledging the depth of who you already are. We often spend our lives questioning our abilities, holding ourselves back, because we believe that success is reserved for others, or that we must fit a certain mold. The truth is, there is no mold for greatness except the one you create for yourself. You define what being the best means for you, and once you do, the world responds accordingly. There is no need to compare yourself to others, because your path is uniquely yours. Every time you choose to act as if you are the best, you reinforce your self-worth. The more you believe that you are capable, deserving, and worthy of success, the more you will see evidence of it in your life. The universe does not operate in a way that rewards those who wait in the shadows for permission. It rewards those who step boldly into the light, knowing they are meant to shine. When you acknowledge your own greatness, you are telling the universe that you are ready to receive everything it has to offer. You create the space for opportunities to flow toward you, not because you are lucky, but because you have aligned yourself with a higher vibration of success, abundance, and possibility. Acting as if you are the best is not about arrogance or seeking attention. It is about walking with integrity and confidence in your own skin. It is knowing that you have a contribution to make to the world and understanding that your unique skills and talents are needed. You are not here by accident. You have a purpose, and your purpose is to show up as the best version of yourself. This does not mean that you are perfect or that you never face setbacks. It simply means that you are committed to doing your best in every circumstance, and that you trust that, regardless of external circumstances, you have the power within you to create the life you desire. The journey to becoming the best is often a solitary one, at least at first. When you step into your power and refuse to settle for less, you may find that some people around you cannot understand your transformation. That is okay. You are not here to live up to anyone else's expectations or to fit into their limited view of what is possible for you. You are here to live according to your own standards, to forge your own path, and to become the best version of yourself. The people who truly support you will recognize your worth and will cheer you on every step of the way. Those who cannot understand your journey may fall away, but this only creates space for the right people to enter your life, those who are in alignment with your vision and who inspire you to rise higher. There will be times when doubts creep in, when you question whether you are really capable of becoming the best. This is natural. The best do not have an absence of doubts, they simply choose to face them head on, understanding that doubt is part of the process of growth. The key is to not let those doubts control you. When they arise, acknowledge them, but do not give them power. Remind yourself that you are already the best, and that any obstacles or challenges you face are simply stepping stones on your journey. Your belief in your own greatness is stronger than any momentary doubt, and it is this belief that will carry you through. The more you embody the mindset of being the best, the more you will find yourself stepping into opportunities that you once thought were out of reach. You will attract situations that reflect your belief in yourself, and these situations will push you further toward your goals. This is how the law of attraction works. It is not about begging the universe for what you want, but rather about aligning your energy with the frequency of your desires. When you act as if you are already the best, you naturally begin to attract those things that are in alignment with that belief. This is not something you have to chase after it will come to you, because your energy is in perfect harmony with the life you want to create. The beauty of acting as if you are the best is that it helps you eliminate the need for validation from others. So often we look outside ourselves for approval, waiting for someone else to recognize our worth. But the moment you decide that you are the best, you no longer need anyone else's permission to succeed. Your confidence is not based on others' opinions, but on your own inner knowing. You are worthy, capable, and deserving of success, regardless of what anyone else may say or think. This inner certainty will serve as your foundation, and no external circumstance can shake it. You will find that as your belief in your own worth grows, so does the world's recognition of it. It's important to remember that being the best is not about competing with others, it's about being the best version of yourself. In fact, true greatness is about collaboration, not competition. The more you act as if you are the best, the more you will naturally lift others up too. When you acknowledge your own potential, you create space for others to do the same. You become an example of what is possible, not just for yourself, but for those around you as well. You inspire others to believe in their own greatness, and together you create a world that is abundant in opportunity, love, and success. The best do not seek to outshine others, they simply shine brightly and encourage others to do the same. As you continue to act as if you are the best, you will notice that the challenges you face begin to feel less daunting. You will see them as opportunities to prove your strength, resilience, and ability to adapt. The best do not shy away from challenges, they embrace them, knowing that each one is a chance to grow. When you face a challenge, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And allow the experience to help you become even better. Each difficulty you overcome strengthens your resolve and deepens your belief in yourself. The more you persevere, the more you will realize that you are indeed capable of achieving anything you set your mind to. There is a deep sense of peace that comes with embracing the belief that you are the best. When you no longer feel the need to compete with others or seek validation from the outside world, you can simply enjoy the process of living. Your actions are driven by passion, purpose, and joy, not by fear or a need for external recognition. You begin to take actions that are in alignment with your values, and you act in ways that feel authentic and true to who you are. The result is a life that is deeply fulfilling because it is lived on your terms, not according to anyone else's expectations. This sense of peace extends to every area of your life. When you act as if you are the best, your relationships improve. You attract people who respect you, value you, and appreciate your authenticity. You become magnetic to those who are in alignment with your energy, and you find yourself surrounded by individuals who support your growth and share your vision for success. The more you embody your greatness, the more the right people will be drawn to you, creating a community of like-minded individuals who help each other rise. You will also notice that your financial situation begins to shift. When you believe you are the best, you expect abundance in all forms. You know that wealth is not just about money, it is about abundance in every area of your life, including love, health, and opportunities. The more you act as if you are the best, the more you open yourself up to receiving the wealth that is already available to you. You will find that money and opportunities flow to you effortlessly because you are no longer blocking them with limiting beliefs. You see abundance everywhere, and it flows to you in abundance as well. As you continue to act as if you are the best, you will find that you begin to make decisions with confidence and clarity. You no longer second-guess yourself or wonder if you are making the right choice. You trust that your intuition will guide you and that you have the wisdom and ability to create the life you desire. Every decision you make is a reflection of your belief in yourself and your ability to succeed. You are no longer afraid of failure because you understand that failure is simply a part of the journey. You see each setback as an opportunity to learn, grow, and improve. You know that no matter what happens, you will continue to rise because you are the best. The act of believing that you are the best is a powerful and transformative practice. It is not about boasting or comparing yourself to others. It is about recognizing your own worth and acting in alignment with that truth. When you act as if you are the best, you step into your true potential, and the world responds to you accordingly. You begin to attract opportunities, relationships, and experiences that reflect your greatness. You live a life of purpose, passion, and abundance because you are living according to your own truth. You are the best, and the world is waiting for you to step fully into that power. So walk with confidence, embrace your greatness, and watch as the universe responds in kind. There are moments in life when the weight of despair feels unbearable, when every door seems shut, and every prayer seems to echo back in silence. These are the times that test the limits of our strength and faith. But what if I told you that your desperation holds the key to unlocking the most profound divine intervention? What if the very moments you feel forsaken are the moments God draws nearest to you? There is a hidden power in reaching out to God, but few know how to truly connect with Him in these times. Stay with me, because what I am about to reveal could transform your understanding of God's response to your cries for help. Desperation is a language heaven understands deeply. It is not a sign of weakness, but rather the evidence that we were created to depend on a power greater than ourselves. Throughout Scripture, God shows us that He is attracted to the brokenhearted, the contrite in spirit, and those who acknowledge their need for Him. When you come to God in desperation, you are not coming to Him as someone defeated, but as someone ready to embrace the fullness of His strength. Many of us pray out of habit, but desperation births a prayer that is raw, real, and unpolished. It tears down the formalities, the rehearsed words, and gets to the core of your soul. These are the prayers that move God. In James 5:16, we are reminded that the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man avails much. This is not about eloquence, but intensity. The power is not in the words themselves, but in the spirit behind them, a spirit that cries out with an undeniable hunger for divine intervention. But here lies the challenge. When desperation overwhelms us, it can either drive us toward God or away from Him. Many let the weight of their circumstances convince them that God is distant, that He is uninterested in their pain. This is one of the greatest deceptions the enemy uses to isolate you from the very source of your breakthrough. In these moments, you must fight to believe that God is closer than ever, waiting for you to turn your desperation into trust. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who found themselves at the end of their strength, only to discover that this is where God begins to move. Consider the woman with the issue of blood in Mark 5. For 12 years, she suffered. She had exhausted every human option, and yet in her desperation, she pushed through the crowd to touch the hem of Jesus' garment. Her desperation was not passive, it was active. She did not sit back and lament her situation, she took bold, faith-filled action. This is the kind of desperation God is looking for, one that doesn't resign itself to defeat, but instead seeks Him with unrelenting determination. The woman's touch was not casual, it was intentional. And in that moment, Jesus felt power leave Him. Think about that. Amid a crowd of people, it was her desperate faith that drew a response from the Savior. Now ask yourself, how are you approaching God in your time of desperation? Are you merely venting your frustrations, or are you seeking Him with a heart that believes He is the answer? God is not intimidated by your pain or your questions. He invites you to pour out your heart before Him. Psalm 34:18 declares that the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Notice the promise here, He is close. Your brokenness is not a barrier to Him, it is an invitation. But seeking divine assistance requires more than just crying out, it demands surrender. Many of us want God to intervene while still holding on to control. We say we trust Him, yet we try to manipulate the outcome. True surrender is acknowledging that His ways are higher than ours, that His timing is perfect, even when it doesn't align with our expectations. When Jesus prayed in the Garden of Gethsemane, He was in agony. His soul was overwhelmed to the point of death. And yet His prayer was one of surrender, not my will, but yours be done, Luke 22:42. This is the kind of prayer that moves heaven, a prayer that doesn't demand answers, but seeks alignment with God's purpose. Desperation also calls for persistence. In Luke 18, Jesus shares the parable of the persistent widow. She kept coming to the unjust judge, pleading for justice. Although the judge neither feared God nor cared about people, he granted her request because of her relentless persistence. Jesus used this parable to teach us the importance of not giving up in prayer. If an unjust judge can respond to persistence, how much more will your heavenly Father, who loves you deeply, respond to your cries? God's silence in your desperation is not his absence. It is often his way of testing and strengthening your faith. When Lazarus was sick, Jesus delayed his arrival. By the time he came, Lazarus was already dead. Mary and Martha couldn't understand why Jesus had waited. But what they saw as a delay was actually a setup for a greater miracle. When Jesus called Lazarus out of the tomb, he demonstrated that God's timing is not bound by human limitations. In your desperation, remember this: God's delays are not denials. They are often his way of preparing something greater than you can imagine. Trusting him in the silence is one of the highest forms of faith. It is declaring that even when you can't see his hand, you believe in his heart. As you seek divine assistance, don't underestimate the power of gratitude. It may seem counterintuitive to thank God in the midst of your desperation, but gratitude shifts your focus from the problem to the provider. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, Paul instructs us to give thanks in all circumstances. This is not about denying your pain, it is about declaring that God is bigger than your pain. Faith and gratitude go hand in hand. When you thank God for what he has already done and for what he is yet to do, you create an atmosphere of expectation. You are reminding yourself of his faithfulness and opening the door for him to work in ways that exceed your understanding. Desperation must lead to action. Faith without works is dead. You cannot seek divine assistance and remain passive. Like the woman with the issue of blood, you must take steps toward Jesus, even when the crowd and your circumstances seem to block your path. God honors faith that moves. Faith in times of desperation requires not only belief but also alignment with God's will, even when the pathway seems unclear. The moments when life feels overwhelming are often the moments when God is preparing you for something far greater than what you can comprehend. These are not times to shrink back in fear but to press forward in trust. It is in the pressing that the power of faith begins to manifest. When you feel your strength faltering, know that God's strength is being made perfect in your weakness. The more impossible the situation appears, the more glory he receives when he brings you through it. Desperation can either weaken you or refine you, depending on how you respond. When you choose to respond with faith, you align yourself with the promises of God. He has declared that he will never leave you nor forsake you. This truth does not change based on your circumstances. Even in the darkest valleys, he is present, guiding and sustaining you. The challenge is to remain steadfast and to trust his hand, even when you cannot see the outcome. Faith is not about having all the answers, it is about trusting the one who holds the answers. The journey of seeking divine assistance is also a journey of self-examination. Desperation often reveals the deepest corners of our hearts, areas we may not have surrendered to God fully. Sometimes the trials we face are not meant to punish us but to purify us. Like gold refined in fire, the heat of desperation removes impurities and brings clarity to what truly matters. This process can be painful, but it is necessary for growth. God uses these moments to mold you into the person he has called you to be, preparing you for the blessings and responsibilities that lie ahead. When you approach God in desperation, do so with honesty. God does not need your rehearsed words or perfect phrases, he desires your heart. Be real with him about your fears, doubts, and struggles. He is not offended by your honesty, he welcomes it. David's Psalms are filled with raw emotion, anger, sadness, confusion, and hope. In Psalm 13, David cries out, "How long, Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me?" Yet even in his anguish, David always returned to a place of trust and praise. This teaches us that it is okay to wrestle with God in prayer as long as we ultimately choose to trust him. There is also great power in community when you are seeking divine assistance. God often works through others to bring comfort, guidance, and support. When Moses grew weary during the battle against Amalek, Aaron and Hur stood beside him and held up his arms, enabling the Israelites to prevail. In your desperation, do not isolate yourself. Surround yourself with people of faith who can intercede for you, encourage you, and remind you of God's promises. Sometimes the strength you need comes through the prayers and actions of those God has placed in your life. As you see God, remember that He operates beyond the limits of time and space. What feels like a delay to you is often divine timing. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Trusting in His timing requires humility, patience, and a willingness to let go of your own agenda. Even when the answer does not come in the way you expect, know that God is still working. Sometimes His answer is yes, sometimes no, and sometimes wait. Each of these responses is an act of His perfect love and wisdom. When He says no, it is because He has something better in store. When He says wait, it is because the timing is not yet right. And when He says yes, it is because your request aligns with His will and His purpose for your life. Prayer is not just about asking God to change your situation, it is also about allowing Him to change you. As you pour out your heart to Him, He pours His Spirit into you, renewing your strength and giving you the peace that surpasses all understanding. This peace is not dependent on circumstances, it comes from knowing that you are in the hands of a loving and sovereign God. Worship is another powerful way to seek divine assistance. When you worship God in the midst of your desperation, you are declaring that He is greater than your circumstances. Worship shifts your focus from your problems to His greatness. It invites His presence into your situation and creates an atmosphere for miracles. Paul and Silas understood this when they were imprisoned. Instead of succumbing to despair, they sang hymns of praise. Their worship not only brought about their deliverance, but also impacted everyone around them. Faith is not passive, it requires action. When you pray, believe that God hears you and take steps of faith in alignment with your prayers. If you are praying for provision, begin to prepare for it. If you are asking for healing, start declaring it over your life. Faith acts as though the promise has already been fulfilled because it trusts in the faithfulness of the promiser. God's word is an essential tool in seeking His assistance. The Bible is not just a book, it is the living, active word of God. It contains promises, instructions, and encouragement for every situation you face. When you immerse yourself in Scripture, you are equipping yourself with the truth needed to combat doubt and fear. Romans 10:17 reminds us that faith comes by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. As you meditate on His word, your faith grows, and your perspective shifts from earthly limitations to divine possibilities. Desperation often exposes the idols in our lives, those things we have placed above God in our hearts. These idols can be relationships, careers, possessions, or even our own plans. In seeking divine assistance, there must be a willingness to let go of anything that has taken God's rightful place. Surrendering these idols is not about losing, but about gaining a deeper relationship with the one who can truly satisfy your soul. When you seek God with all your heart, you will find Him. Jeremiah 29:13 promises, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." This is not a half-hearted pursuit, it is a wholehearted commitment to knowing Him and trusting Him above all else. It is in this place of surrender that His power is made manifest in your life. Desperation is not the end of your story, it is the beginning of a divine encounter. The same God who parted the Red Sea, healed the blind, and raised the dead is the God who stands ready to intervene in your situation. He is not limited by your circumstances or your failures. His power is made perfect in weakness, and His grace is sufficient for every need. Trust Him, seek Him, and watch as He turns your desperation into a testimony of His faithfulness. When you find yourself in a place of desperation, it is not by accident, but by divine design. These moments are invitations for you to step closer to God, to trust Him in ways you never imagined, and to experience His glory in unprecedented ways. Desperation clears away distractions and reveals what truly matters, pushing you into the arms of the only one who can provide lasting peace and resolution. It strips away the illusion of control and forces you to rely entirely on God's sovereignty and grace. In your desperation, remember that you are not alone. Countless others before you have faced moments of overwhelming need and have seen God's hand move mightily on their behalf. Joseph sat in a prison cell after being betrayed by his brothers, falsely accused and forgotten by those he helped. Yet in those dark and lonely moments, God was preparing him for a position of influence and leadership that would save nations. The delay was not denial, it was preparation. What you perceive as God's silence or inactivity is often Him working behind the scenes, orchestrating something far beyond your understanding. The key to seeking divine assistance is not only in recognizing God's power, but also in submitting to His will. Submission is not a sign of weakness, it is an act of faith and trust. When you submit to God, you are acknowledging that His ways are higher than your ways, and that His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. You are declaring that even if you cannot see the full picture, you trust the artist who is painting it. Submission allows God to take control and lead you into His plans, which are always good, pleasing, and perfect. As you seek God, remember that desperation does not disqualify you from His love, it draws you closer to it. The Bible is filled with stories of people who cried out to God in their lowest moments and experienced His deliverance. Hannah wept bitterly before the Lord because of her barrenness, and God responded by giving her Samuel, a prophet who would lead Israel. The woman with the issue of blood pushed through the crowd, risking rejection and ridicule, to touch the hem of Jesus' garment, and her faith made her whole. Blind Bartimaeus shouted louder when others told him to be quiet, and his persistence brought him face to face with the Savior. These examples remind us that God is not distant or indifferent. He is compassionate and attentive to those who call on Him with a sincere heart. The enemy often uses desperation to plant seeds of doubt and fear. He whispers lies that make you question God's goodness and presence. In these moments, you must counter those lies with the truth of God's word. Speak His promises over your life. Declare that He is your refuge and strength, an ever-present help in times of trouble. Remind yourself that nothing can separate you from His love, not hardship, persecution, famine, or danger. Faith is not about ignoring reality, it is about anchoring yourself in the reality of who God is and what He has promised. Patience is a critical element of seeking divine assistance. Human nature craves immediate answers and solutions, but God's timing is always perfect. Abraham and Sarah waited years for the fulfillment of God's promise to give them a son. During that waiting period, they faced moments of doubt and even tried to take matters into their own hands, which led to complications. Yet, despite their missteps, God remained faithful to His promise. This teaches us that even in our impatience, God's plan will prevail. Trusting His timing means believing that His delays are not denials but opportunities for growth and preparation. While you wait, worship. Worship shifts the atmosphere and aligns your heart with God's presence. It is a declaration of faith, even when circumstances remain unchanged. Worship is not about how you feel, it is about who God is. When you lift your hands in surrender and lift your voice in praise, you are inviting the presence of God to invade your situation. The Bible says that He inhabits the praises of His people. Your worship becomes a weapon against despair and a bridge to divine intervention. Fasting is another powerful way to seek God's assistance. It is not about earning His favor, but about positioning yourself to hear His voice more clearly. Fasting quiets the noise of the world and tunes your spirit to the frequency of heaven. It is an act of humility and dependence, acknowledging that you need God more than you need food or comfort. Through fasting, you demonstrate your hunger for His presence and your willingness to sacrifice for a deeper connection with Him. When you seek God, be ready for Him to answer in unexpected ways. His solutions often defy human logic and require steps of faith that may seem irrational. Naaman, a commander in the Syrian army, was instructed by the prophet Elisha to dip himself 7 times in the Jordan River to be healed of leprosy. Initially, he resisted because the instructions seemed too simple and beneath him. However, when he obeyed, he experienced complete healing. This story reminds us that God's methods are not always what we expect, but they are always effective. Obedience is the key that unlocks His blessings. Prayer is not just a monologue, but a dialogue. As you pour out your heart to God, take time to listen for His response. He speaks through His Word, through the prompting of the Holy Spirit, and sometimes through the counsel of others. Cultivate a posture of expectancy, knowing that He desires to communicate with you. When you seek Him with an open heart, He will reveal His will and guide your steps. Desperation also teaches you the value of gratitude. It is easy to focus on what is lacking or what is causing pain, but gratitude shifts your perspective. When you thank God for what He has already done, you are reminded of His faithfulness. Gratitude builds your faith and opens your eyes to the blessings that are often overlooked. It turns your focus from the problem to the provider, and in doing so, it prepares your heart to receive even more from Him. Your testimony is a powerful tool in seeking divine assistance. When you share what God has done for you in the past, you are not only encouraging yourself but also building the faith of others. Testimonies remind us that the same God who was faithful before will be faithful again. Revelation 12:11 says, "They triumphed over him by the blood of the Lamb, and by the word of their testimony. Your story of desperation turned into deliverance becomes a testament to God's glory and a beacon of hope for those who are still in the struggle." Faith does not mean you will never face trials, it means you will never face them alone. God's presence is a constant assurance that even in the midst of chaos, you are secure. He is the good shepherd who leads his sheep beside still waters and restores their souls. He is the rock on which you can stand when everything else is sinking sand. No matter how desperate your situation may seem, God's power is greater, His love is deeper, and His promises are unshakable. When you align your heart with God, desperation becomes a vessel for transformation. The struggles you face are not designed to break you, but to shape you, refine you, and draw you closer to the heart of your Creator. It is in these moments of complete surrender, when you have exhausted your own strength and abilities, that God's power is made perfect. The Apostle Paul wrote in 2 Corinthians 12:9, "But he said to me, 'My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness.'" Your desperation is not a sign of defeat, it is an invitation for God to step in and demonstrate His glory in ways you could never imagine. In those times of desperation, you must resist the urge to isolate yourself. The enemy works to separate you from God's truth and from the encouragement of others. He wants to make you feel alone, forgotten, and insignificant. But God's word assures us that we are never alone. In Deuteronomy 31:8, we are reminded the Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. When you feel isolated, lean into God's presence and surround yourself with people who will uplift you in prayer and remind you of His promises. A community of faith can provide strength when yours feels depleted and serve as a conduit of God's love. Desperation often brings you to your knees, but prayer is where battles are won. The fervent prayer of a righteous person is powerful and effective, as stated in James 5:16. Prayer in desperation is not about eloquence or formality, it is about honesty and vulnerability before God. It is about pouring out your heart, trusting that He hears every word and understands the cries you cannot even articulate. The Holy Spirit intercedes on your behalf with groanings too deep for words, as Paul writes in Romans 8:26. In prayer, you meet God at the intersection of your need and His provision, where He reveals His power to transform situations and, more importantly, hearts. The lessons of desperation are not merely for the moment, but for the lifetime. They teach you to depend on God in every season, not just when life becomes unbearable. Consistent reliance on God builds a foundation of faith that can withstand any storm. The discipline of daily surrender and trust prepares you for the challenges ahead and reinforces your confidence in God's ability to provide. David declared in Psalm 37:25, "I was young, and now I am old, yet I have never seen the righteous forsaken or their children begging bread." His testimony was born out of a lifetime of trusting God through trials and triumphs, and it serves as a reminder that God's faithfulness is eternal. When seeking divine assistance, you must guard your heart against bitterness and cynicism. Desperation can make you question why God has allowed certain circumstances or why deliverance has not yet come. These questions are natural, but they must not take root and grow into resentment. Instead, let them drive you deeper into God's presence. Bring your doubts and fears to Him honestly, and allow His Word to provide the reassurance and perspective you need. Isaiah 55:8-9 reminds us, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts." Trust that even in the unknown, God is sovereign, and His plans are for your good. There is a refining that takes place in seasons of desperation. Just as gold is purified by fire, your faith is tested and strengthened in the trials you face. Peter wrote in 1 Peter 1:6-7, "In all this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief in all kinds of trials. These have come so that the proven genuineness of your faith, of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may result in praise, glory, and honor when Jesus Christ is revealed." What feels like a breaking point is often a breakthrough point, where God removes what is unnecessary and refines what is eternal. God's timing is a critical element in seeking His assistance. While you may desire immediate resolution, God works in His perfect time, orchestrating events with precision that only He can achieve. Ecclesiastes 3:11 reminds us, "He has made everything beautiful in its time." Patience in waiting for God's timing is not passive, it is active faith in His ability to fulfill His promises. During the wait, He is preparing you for the blessings He has in store. Trust that what He has planned is worth every moment of waiting, even when it feels difficult to endure. Faith is the currency of heaven, and it is essential in seeking divine assistance. Hebrews 11:6 states, "And without faith it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to Him must believe that He exists, and that He rewards those who earnestly seek Him." Faith does not guarantee that you will understand every step of the journey, but it assures you that God is with you every step of the way. It is the confidence that even when you cannot see a way out, God has already made a way. Faith is not merely belief, it is action. It is stepping forward in obedience, trusting that God will meet you there. Obedience is a powerful demonstration of faith in times of desperation. When God instructs you to move, even when the path is unclear, your obedience paves the way for His intervention. The story of the widow in 2 Kings 4, who obeyed Elisha's instruction to gather jars and pour out the little oil she had, is a profound example. Her obedience, even in desperation, led to a miraculous provision that not only met her immediate needs but also secured her future. Obedience positions you to receive God's blessings and allows His power to flow through your situation. Gratitude is a weapon in the fight against despair. When you thank God for what He has already done, you shift your focus from lack to abundance, from fear to faith. Gratitude invites God's presence into your situation and aligns your heart with His goodness. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, Paul instructs, "Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus." Gratitude does not ignore your desperation, it acknowledges God's sovereignty in the midst of it. It is a declaration that He is good, no matter what you face, and that His faithfulness endures forever. As you seek God, listen for His voice. He speaks in many ways through His Word, through the Holy Spirit, and through the counsel of godly individuals. Elijah experienced God's voice not in the earthquake or the fire, but in the still small whisper. Be attentive to the ways God may be communicating with you and remain open to His direction. Sometimes His guidance will come in ways that challenge your understanding or require you to step out of your comfort zone. Trust that His voice will always lead you toward His purposes and His peace. The power of worship in desperation cannot be overstated. Worship is not just a response to what God has done, it is a declaration of who He is. When you lift your voice in praise, you are aligning yourself with heaven and inviting God's presence into your situation. Worship shifts the atmosphere and reminds you that no matter how overwhelming your circumstances may be, God is greater. As Paul and Silas worshipped in prison, the very foundations of the prison were shaken and their chains were broken. Worship is a weapon that dismantles despair and ushers in freedom. Your desperation is not wasted. God uses every tear, every cry, and every prayer to accomplish His purposes. Romans 8:28 assures us, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." Trust that even in the darkest moments, God is weaving a tapestry of redemption and restoration. He is not only concerned with delivering you from your situation, but also with drawing you closer to Him in the process. Your desperation becomes a testimony of His faithfulness, a story that will inspire others to seek Him in their own times of need. God uses desperation to deepen your dependence on Him. When you reach the end of your own capabilities, you enter a realm where God's supernatural power can operate freely. This place of surrender is where He begins to reveal His strength, His wisdom, and His ability to do far more than you could ever ask or imagine. It's in the pressing moments that you experience His provision in a way that goes beyond your understanding. Remember the Israelites in the wilderness when they had no food or water. God provided manna from heaven and water from a rock. These were not merely acts of provision, they were acts of relationship, drawing His people closer to Him and teaching them to trust in His sufficiency. Desperation often strips away the distractions that keep you from hearing God clearly. When life is comfortable, it's easy to become complacent, relying on your own strength and wisdom. But in times of great need, the noise of self-reliance is silenced and the still, small voice of God becomes more audible. In these moments, He doesn't just want to change your circumstances, He wants to transform your heart. He wants to draw you into deeper intimacy with Him, where His presence becomes your greatest desire and His will your ultimate aim. There's a unique power in crying out to God with authenticity and desperation. The psalmist David wrote in Psalm 34:17, "The righteous cry out, and the Lord hears them, He delivers them from all their troubles." This kind of crying out isn't polished or rehearsed, it's raw, honest, and unfiltered. It's the kind of prayer that lays everything bare before God, withholding nothing. And it's in these moments of transparency that you connect with the heart of God. He doesn't require perfection in your prayers, He requires honesty, humility, and faith that He will respond. The desperation you feel can also become a doorway to clarity. When you are faced with impossible situations, the things that truly matter become evident. The distractions of the world fade, and you begin to see your life through the lens of eternity. This clarity allows you to realign your priorities, placing God at the center of every decision and desire. It reminds you that the things of this world are temporary, but the things of God are eternal. This perspective not only gives you strength to endure, but also fills you with hope for what lies beyond your present trials. God's assistance often comes in ways that defy human logic. His solutions are not bound by the limitations of this world. When the Israelites stood at the edge of the Red Sea, with Pharaoh's army closing in, God didn't just provide a way out, He made a way through. He parted the waters, creating a path that no one could have anticipated. In your desperation, trust that God is capable of doing the impossible. He is not limited by your circumstances, your resources, or your understanding. His power transcends every obstacle, and His plans are always perfect. The act of seeking God in desperation is itself an act of worship. It acknowledges His sovereignty and declares that He is your ultimate source of help and hope. This kind of worship is powerful because it shifts your focus from the problem to the one who holds the solution. It declares that no matter how dire your situation may seem, God is greater. Worship in desperation is not about ignoring your pain, it's about magnifying God in the midst of it. As you lift Him up, He lifts you up, giving you strength to face whatever comes your way. God often uses desperation to prepare you for the blessings He has in store. The pain you endure is not without purpose, it is shaping you into the person He created you to be. It is refining your character, strengthening your faith, and equipping you for the calling He has placed on your life. When you look back on these seasons, you will see how God used them to grow you in ways you never imagined. What feels like a season of loss is often a season of preparation for something far greater. The stories of the Bible are filled with examples of people who sought God in desperation and found His faithfulness. Hannah cried out to God for a child, and He gave her Samuel, who became a great prophet. The woman with the issue of blood pressed through the crowd to touch Jesus, and she was healed. Blind Bartimaeus called out to Jesus, refusing to be silenced, and his sight was restored. These stories remind you that God is not indifferent to your pain. He sees you, he hears you, and he is ready to move on your behalf when you seek him with all your heart. In your desperation, don't underestimate the power of small steps of faith. Sometimes God's provision begins with a simple act of obedience. When the disciples brought Jesus 5 loaves and 2 fish, it seemed insignificant in the face of feeding thousands. But in Jesus' hands, it became more than enough. Your small step of faith can be the catalyst for God's miraculous intervention. It may not seem like much, but when offered to God in faith, it becomes part of his divine plan to meet your needs and reveal his glory. As you continue to seek God, remember that his love for you is unwavering. Your desperation does not diminish his affection for you. If anything, it deepens his desire to draw you closer. He is a compassionate Father who longs to comfort you, guide you, and provide for you. His heart breaks for your pain, and his arms are always open to receive you. When you come to him, you are not approaching a distant deity. You are coming to a loving Father who cares deeply for every detail of your life. The power of Scripture cannot be overstated when seeking divine assistance. God's word is a lamp to your feet and a light to your path, as Psalm 119:105 declares. It is a source of comfort, wisdom, and strength in times of desperation. When you meditate on his promises, you are reminded of his faithfulness and equipped to stand firm in your faith. The Bible is not just a book, it is a living, breathing testament to God's character and his covenant with you. Let it be your anchor in the storm, holding you steady as you wait on him. God's provision often comes through unexpected channels. He may use people, circumstances, or even your own desperation to reveal his plans. Be open to his leading and willing to follow wherever he guides. Sometimes his answers come in ways that challenge your understanding or require you to step out of your comfort zone. Trust that his ways are higher than yours and that he is always working for your good. When you are willing to let go of your own expectations, you make room for God to exceed them in ways you could never imagine. The journey of seeking God in desperation is not one you take alone. He is with you every step of the way, guiding you, strengthening you, and providing for you. His presence is your greatest source of comfort and your greatest assurance of victory. No matter how dark the night may seem, the light of his love will always shine through. Trust that he is with you, that he is for you, and that he will never leave you nor forsake you. With God by your side, you can face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, and walk in the fullness of his promises. In your moments of desperation, remember that God is not distant, he is near, waiting for you to turn to him with an open heart and unwavering faith. Desperation is not a sign of defeat. It is an invitation to experience his power, his love, and his faithfulness in ways that will transform your life. Trust in his timing, rely on his promises, and allow his presence to carry you through the storm. He will not only meet your needs, but will exceed your expectations, turning your trials into testimonies and your pain into purpose. As you seek him, may you discover that he is everything you need and more than you could ever hope for. Stay steadfast, for with God your breakthrough is always closer than it seems.